Do you want to buy a new tripod and then you've looked on the internet and you've realized that there's about 6 million different types out there to buy? Well, in this video, I am going to teach you what tripod is going to be correct for you. We're going to look at aluminium, carbon fiber, small ones, big ones, gear heads, ball heads. We're going to look at different brands, different models. I'm going to tell you rookie mistakes that you shouldn't be making. And then I'm going to give you my recommendations on the ones that I have liked for many, many years. So let's just start with the obvious, right? What is a tripod for? Well, simply, it's to keep your camera still. That's the primary objective of a tripod. Secondary objective of a tripod is for it to be portable, for it to be small, light, and be able to carry around for a long time. Now, this is the biggest rookie mistake that I have seen for years. You know, we all want to walk around with hardly any weight, but when it comes to tripods and keeping your camera still, laws of physics play a massive part, right? If your camera is too heavy for the tripod, it's going to wobble in the slightest bit of wind. So that's the obvious thing out the way. The tripod is to keep your camera dead still, and there is no negotiation on that. Next, let's talk about the material. Some tripods will be made from aluminium, like this one here and this one here, which we're going to get to. And then some are made of carbon fiber, like this one here and this one here. Now, what's the difference? Carbon fiber is lighter. So carbon fiber is just as strong, but it's lighter and it's more expensive. If you're going to put an average to this, an aluminium version of a tripod compared to a carbon fiber version of a tripod, there's about £100 difference, just on average across the board. Now, when we're talking about aluminium being heavier than carbon fiber, it's not that bad, all right? It's fractional. So if you're on a budget, there you go. There is your budget option, the aluminium option. If you're not on a budget, you've got loads of money, get the carbon fiber option. It's just a matter of carbon fiber is lighter than aluminium, and it's also more expensive. The next thing is leg extensions. Now, to put that bluntly, that's how many parts your tripod leg is in. So this one's got a 1, 2, 3, 4 section tripod leg. And this one here next to it has got a 1, 2, 3 section leg. Now, for stability, the less sections, the better, okay? But for size, you know, compactness, when you compact them down, the more leg extensions are better. But here's the rule. Do not go above 4, okay? If you've got a tripod listed and it says 5 extensions or 6 extensions, just avoid it, because the bottom extension will be as thin as anything and it won't be stable. So the rule there, 4 leg extensions or less. Sticking to tripod legs, the next thing to consider is the way the sections lock in. You get 2 different locking mechanisms. One is a twist lock system, like this one here, and you just twist the section there, push it up, twist it, it locks, vice versa. That's a twist lock. And then if I take this one here, this has got like a clamp locking system. I actually don't know the official term, but sounds about right. And basically, you just lift the clamp and lock it. And that's that system. Differences between the two are the clamp system is very easy to use, it's very quick, but it can be a bit bulkier. All right, so if you're packing things down, it can be a little bit bulkier. The twist lock system is also easy to use, to be honest with you, but you can, when you can pack the tripod down, it kind of makes it a little bit smaller. Now, clearly that also depends on the size of the tripod as well. And that's the simple differences between the two. I've used them both over the years, and you know, they're both not a problem at all. The only consideration for me is if I'm using a tripod for traveling, I generally go for the twist lock system. So there's another consideration for when you're buying a tripod, your leg locking mechanisms. The next thing that you're going to need when it comes to a tripod is a quick release system. Now, most of them come with that these days, but let's just quickly explain that in case you don't know. Quick release system is exactly what it says on the tin. It enables you to quickly release the camera from the tripod and quickly snap it back into place, all right? And that system is achievable by a quick release plate. So let's just unscrew this one and show you. So that's a quick release plate. It screws onto the bottom of your camera and then you make sure it's nice and tight, obviously, and then you put it back onto your tripod head and tighten it up. And it's as simple as that. Now, all cameras fit any quick release plate because that screw is a standard size. But when it comes to quick release plates, it's not one size fits all, okay? You just have to make sure that you've got the quick release plate for the tripod that you are using. I mean, that's the simplest thing. And of course, all the tripods come with one anyway. There is a system called the Arca Swiss system. That's these ones here. And they are a bit more interchangeable with certain brands. There's a few brands that use that system. Manfrotto use their own system, but it's never been a problem for me over the years. If you lose a plate, for instance, which happens, you know, you can buy them very easily off of, you know, Amazon or whatever. So in a nutshell, all you need to worry about is that the tripod that you buy has got a quick release system. Now let's talk about tripod heights. This is where tripod companies can con you, especially the cheaper ones, all right? This is important. The main height that you should consider when it comes to a tripod is where all of these three tripod legs meet, okay? That is the stable height. That is the most stable that your camera's gonna be. Now, tripod companies always quote the height when this center column is fully extended up like that, all right? And that's fine, but that, I mean, look, you know, that is not rocket science. This section of the tripod is not moving nowhere near as much as this section at the top here when I'm just giving it a bit of pressure. So when you're taking pictures, you generally avoid taking them at this height because, I mean, look, you can just see. You can see that is not stable. A gust of wind, whatever, okay? And that is still wobbling, right, that's still wobbling. So the height that you need to, don't worry about this. This is what's called a bonus height, okay? That's what I call it. The height that you need to be considering is this height. This is the stable height, okay? Now, what you wanna aim for in an ideal world is a tripod, these three legs of the tripod with the head on, we'll come to heads in a minute, to be, you know, chest to neck height. That would be absolutely perfect. I mean, look at this one here. This is the Manfrotto 190. I'm gonna come to brands and models, etc. in a minute. But look at this one here. This, you don't get more stable than this. And it's right where I want it to be if I'm shooting at eye height, for instance, okay? I would hardly ever move this center column and take it up to there, look. You know, there's just no need. I can't even see up that high, all right? So that there is probably absolutely perfect for me. The downside is it's a big, heavy tripod, and to put that in your rucksack, your camera bag, it's gonna be heavier. So when you want portability, they're gonna be a little bit smaller, and you've got to, you know, in your head realize that you're gonna be like this for most of the pictures. You know, that if you can deal with that, that's absolutely fine. Clearly, not every picture's taken at eye height anyway, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So when it comes to the height of the tripod that you're gonna buy, figure out where the three legs meet, the three tripod legs meet, with a head on top, and you want it to be, in an ideal world, here. But if you are going to be traveling about a bit, you know, you can get away with it down here, but just, you know, be aware of that. Now we need to talk about tripod heads, because that is just as important as the tripod that you get. So for people that don't know, tripods come in two parts. This part, the tripod, and then this part here, the tripod head. Now you get three different types of tripod heads. You get a ball head, like this one here. You get a pan and tilt head, like this one here. And then you get a gear head. And like I say, it's two separate parts. So here's a head, here's a tripod, and then you can twist, and I can take that head off there, just like that. And then I can replace the head for this tripod for, I mean, this is a ball head, so I could replace it for a pan and tilt head, for instance, if I wanted to. So we're going to have a look at the 3 different types of heads, see which one is more appropriate for you. But before we do, let me tell you about the courses that we run over at theschoolofphotography.com. If you want to learn how to use your camera properly whilst they're on these fantastic tripods, then come over and see us. We've got courses in beginner photography, Lightroom, Photoshop, studio lighting, forest photography, fine art landscape, headshot photography, fine art portraiture, and much, much more. And all of our courses you can learn in your own time at your own pace. We've also got a fantastic learning community where you can join in on our assignments. You can interact with other members and get ideas, advice, etc. As a member, you can always email us at any time and ask questions. So if you want to learn photography properly, that's the key word there, learning it properly, then come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com. So let's start with looking at ball heads, talking about the pros and cons of them. So a ball head, the camera sits on top of a ball here. You loosen up the loosening handle here, and then you are literally free to move this camera wherever you want to be. I can go portrait around here. There's another handle that will pan it, so I can go like that. And then when I'm happy, I just tighten both handles up and then it don't move. Now on this particular ball head, there's a locking system as well. So you tighten it up with one and then you just twist this till it gets a little bit tight, and that gives it a locking mechanism, which in short just makes it even more tighter. That's actually a really handy feature to have if you've got heavy equipment. So if you've got like a zoom lens on here, you know, that weight can start to drag the camera down. So that locking mechanism does stop that from happening. So the pros of a ball head is it's very quick. You know, you can quickly do this, change it, tighten it, you're ready to go, etc. The other pro to a ball head is that it's more compact. It's the most compact out of all of the tripod heads. So if putting it in a suitcase or in cabin luggage is important, then a ball head's the way to go. The disadvantages of a ball head is it can be less accurate, all right? Or let's just say it's gonna take you a bit longer if you're a picky person, right? If you're really picky, you can imagine that you're gonna be going like this, going like that, and just really trying to get your composition exact. And because it's free to move, you know, it can do that, you can see. So that is one of the cons. It can be longer to be more accurate, if that makes sense, all right? It's quicker to just go and grab a shot, but longer if you're a picky person, you know, you want things absolutely perfect, all right? So now let's move on to a pan and tilt head. Now the difference between a pan and tilt head to a ball head is that you can move this camera independently on each of its axes. So for instance, I've got a twist handle here and I can twist that and it will just control the pan, all right? And it locks all the tilts off. So if I lock that off now, I've also got now 2 tilt handles, and this particular head has got extensions that you can pull out, and then I can loosen this one and I can just control the tilt up and down, and then I can loosen this one and I can just control the tilt left and right. And on top of that, I've got a little level here on the back of the tripod head so that I can level off this side, and that camera is perfectly level now. So there's a lot more control in moving this camera independently via the panning, the tilting up and down, tilting left and right, and you can get it level using the levels on the tripod, etc. So that's one of the pros to this type of head. The con is, I mean, you can see how much bigger it is and how much bulkier it is. So you're obviously going to need to consider that if you are carrying this around. Now the next type of head is a gear head. This one is the Manfrotto MHX Pro 3WG, and it currently retails at approximately £179. Manfrotto kindly sent us this gear head for this video, so thank you for that. Now, for argument's sake, a gear head works in a very similar way to a pan and tilt head. On this particular model, you squeeze in this lever with the panning handle and it pans. Pans nice and freely like the pan and tilt head does. And similarly, I can squeeze in this handle here, tilt up and down. I can squeeze this handle here and go left and right, okay? So there it is, there's a pan and tilt head. But the difference is it's also got a gear knob that you can twist and get very precise movements. So I can twist this one and you can see it's very slowly and very precisely going left and right. Very good if you need to get horizons dead straight. I twist this one and you can see that it's going up and down, but in very small movements. And then I can twist this one and as you can see, it's panning left and right, okay? So it's giving you much more accuracy, shall we say, in your movement of your camera in each individual axis. That's the pro to it, okay, that's the pro. The con, as you can see, it's big and bulky like the other one and expensive. But if absolute precision is what you need, then clearly this is the tripod head for you. Now, let's talk about brands, models, costs, and so on. Now, as you already know, because you're looking for tripods, there's millions of brands out there, expensive, cheap, budget, whatever, all right? Now, I've got two brands here to show you, and you know, I'm not being sponsored, no one's paying me for anything, but these are the two that I use and have used over the years. I've got the Manfrottos here, and I've got this one here, which is the K&F Concept. The Manfrotto is like the high brand, more expensive, and these are like the budget brands. And we'll come to expensive versus budget in a minute, but let's just have a look at these. This one here is the Manfrotto 190. Now that has been going for years. This is a very, I mean, I've had this 10 years plus. It's an aluminium tripod. The equivalent these days to this, so you still get, they're still called the 190, but I think the new ones are called the 190X or something like that. This is an aluminium tripod. They're around £200 with a pan and tilt head, not the gear head, just a normal pan and tilt head. That's good money for this type of tripod. It's really sturdy. You don't get sturdier than this. I've took this out on shoots as well, but it is mainly a studio tripod. It's just for the studio. It's nice and stable. Nothing's going to move when something is on top of this. And incidentally, if you want the carbon fiber version of this, I think it's about £90 dearer. Now, there's no point me quoting exact prices because they're going to be different by the time you type them in, but I'm just quoting as of when we're filming this video, all right? So that is the Manfrotto 190, an absolute stable, sold millions and millions over the years. And I think most photographers have got a Manfrotto 190 knocking about in their cupboards. And the other thing with this type of tripod, the big sturdy tripod, is it doesn't really matter what camera that you put on it. So at the moment I've got a crop sensor camera on here. This is the Fuji X-T5. It's a smaller camera body with smaller lenses. This tripod is going to take that with ease. But it's also going to take a full frame camera with a big massive lens on as well with ease. And that is something that you need to consider when you buy a tripod, particularly if you're going full frame. If you've got APS-C, crop sensor, micro four thirds cameras, and incidentally, if you haven't got a clue what that all means, then firstly, you need to do our beginner's course. And secondly, I've got a video for you all about sensor sizes and the effects that they have on focal lengths and all of that kind of stuff. It's a free YouTube video. Go and check that out. So with an APS-C or micro four thirds, you're fine. It's if you're using a full frame kit, that is when you need to really consider bigger tripods, okay? And that brings me on to the next two here, which are like more travel tripods. I'm gonna move this out of the way and put them into the middle here. So now I've got these set up. These are the Manfrotto B3 tripods. They are your travel tripods. They're made for travel tripods. Now this is the older version. This is a carbon fiber version, the Manfrotto B3. I've had this for absolutely years. I've actually got two of them, and I think that the carbon fiber version of this is roughly about 250 quid or something like that, okay? That's with the ball head. Now, incidentally, when you come to buying a tripod, well, I've already gone through it, but just to recap, it's the number of sections of the legs, so your leg sections. It's the material, so you might get a carbon fiber, you might get an aluminium, and then it's the head. So that's what you need to consider, and they all come in variations. You just need to look through the list and think to yourself, right, I want a pan and tilt head, I want aluminium, and I want this particular tripod. Put them three things together, that's the one that you want, all right? So this one's the carbon fiber with the ball head. This one here is the newer version. So this is the new version of the Manfrotto B3. Again, a really popular tripod, and it's got a ball head on it. This is currently retailing at £169, and that's for the aluminium version. The carbon fiber one is obviously going to be dearer. Like I say, it's about £90, £100 dearer, roughly. Look at the prices in the different stores that obviously that you want to go to. I will put a link in the description of this video, which will take you to a store, the one that we use, and you can browse there. But I'm not sponsored. You're free to do what you want. But this one is aluminium. This one is carbon fiber. Now I'm telling you, obviously this has got a camera on it, but I've lifted these up. I've not put them on scales or anything. I'm not that type of person. I've just lifted them up individually. Not much weight difference at all. The aluminium one is absolutely fine. And if you're on a budget, why not just save yourself a few quid? Now, this is surprisingly sturdy for the size of it at this height, okay? That will deal with an APS-C or a micro four thirds camera really well, as will this one here. This one's a bit bigger than this one, so I think they might have, the newer model, they might have made it a bit smaller. And I have had full frame cameras on this particular tripod. Not ideal because the full frame kit is, heavy, but it has worked. There is no way on earth that you would probably do that with it though, with a full frame kit. Look. And in the wind and stuff like that, that would be a bit dodgy. But for APS-C kit, absolutely fine. This one, I think APS-C kit, absolutely fine at this height. And now what I want to talk to you about is budget versus expensive. Now a tripod, if you get yourself a good tripod, it's going to last you years. Hence these here, I don't even know how many years I've had I've got, like I say, I've got two of these because we do go on shoots, We've been to Tenerife on shoots for our astrophotography course. We go into the depths of the forest, So we do travel around and do full-on week-long shoots, and we need light stuff to carry around. And I've got two of these. I've had them for years, and they've just been brilliant. This I've had for even longer. I was trying to think of when I bought this particular tripod, the Manfrotto 190. I think it was like in the year 2000 when I left university, and I must have invested in some kit or something like that. But that's a long time. And you would look at this and you would think that it's actually fairly new. Right? And I've had it and used it. And this one, before I had the travel ones, I used to just walk around with that in my hand, just walk around and take pictures out, landscapes, etc. And look at it. It's been in the sea, been everywhere. The point I'm trying to make there is a good tripod will last you a long time, your whole career possibly. But not everyone's got all that money. There are budget options. So let's have a look at these two here. I'm going to move these to one side and put these in the middle here. So the budget options I've got here is from a company called K&F Concept. Now, This is the first one that I bought from them because it was actually for the Astro course that we shot, and I just needed a light second tripod to take out there to Tenerife. It was going up the mountain. Yeah, so that's what I needed, and I just thought, well, I'll try one of these budget options. This was about £80, I think 80 or 90 pounds. It's a carbon fiber tripod. Now, they don't actually do this one anymore, and I think I know why, because it definitely was a budget option, right? It was supposed to be like you can see, look, the equivalent of the Manfrotto B3, you know, I think that's what they was going for. I mean, it worked, and we did the shoot, it's absolutely fantastic, but one of these broke, one of these twisty things broke, and I had to, you know, get that replaced. These are just a bit flimsy, and yeah, you know, all right, this was 260, 270 pounds, and that's like 80, 90 pounds. There's a massive difference there, but believe me, you know, that's gonna last me forever, and that is not. But having said that, K&F Concept sent us this one. Now, I just want to level with you here. They're not paying me any money. This is not sponsored, all right? But they did send us this to test and look at. And this particular model is absolutely fantastic. As a budget model, you can't really fault it. This particular model is the K&F Concept X284C4, and it's a carbon fiber tripod retailing at around £139. When you use things, you can kind of tell if they're good quality or not, and this actually seems really solid, and we have been using it. Now, whether or not, I mean, might be a reason that's not sold anymore. Maybe they had too many returns. And maybe they've upped their game, I don't know. But I can recommend this because we do use it. It's sturdy, and look at the height of it as well. This is £139, and you know, if you wanted like the Manfrotto carbon fiber equivalent, it's going to be a lot more actually, probably nearly £300, just off the top of my head here. But it's the risk that you take. I know that this expensive stuff has lasted me for years. It's been in and out the ocean. It's been up mountains. It's been through forests, and it works like the day I bought it. This particular one didn't. This particular one we've been using, and it's been absolutely fine, and it's nice and light, and it feels like a good piece of kit. So here is my recommendations. If you've got a full frame kit, you are going to need a bigger, sturdier tripod. The Manfrotto 190s have been going for years, right? There's loads of different versions of them, but pretty much they're like the bigger tripod. And this one is the 3-leg extension. Come with a pan and tilt head. You can get the ball head, you know, that's up to you. You figure that one out. This is sturdy, and it's going to keep your kit still. That is the primary objective. Do not let that primary objective remove from your brain and start going, oh, actually, I want to carry something a bit lighter and smaller, because you will come unstuck when you're out in the field, okay? So that's going to do you well with any kind of kit, that one. Then as a travel tripod, the Manfrotto B3s are really, really good. They are really good. You can see that they're nice and sturdy. If you've got a full frame kit though, you know, I probably wouldn't go for that. But if you've got an APS-C Micro Four Thirds kit, you know, it's going to be good if you're traveling a lot. And then if you're on a budget, this particular tripod that they've sent us is good. I don't know how it's going to stand the test of time, right? There you go, there's my cards on the table. It seems really good. The ball head seems nice and stiff. The mechanisms seem really good. And I think that this particular tripod will take a full frame kit as well. So this video was to educate you on what tripod will be right for you, because there's a million out there, okay? And you've got to really just consider what's actually right for you. Do you mind aluminium? A little bit heavier, do you mind that? If you don't, there's some money to be saved there. How tall are you? And then figure out where this section of the tripod meets. Ideally, you want to be about there. If you are traveling around a lot, then you could get away with one a little bit lower, but do not judge a tripod by its maximum height. That is very, very important. This center column thing, I mean, look at that. You'd look at this one and you'd go, wow, that's a brilliant tripod. Look how high it goes. But now look at it, okay? Don't be fooled. And then you've got to consider what tripod head you want. Do you want a ball head? Ball heads are popular, you know, they're quick to use, they're compact. Or do you want more accuracy with a pan and tilt head or even a geared head? Now, I am not the, knowledge of all tripods here. If you've got a tripod that you've used and you think is absolutely great, put it in the comments and tell us why. And similarly, if you've bought a tripod and it's absolutely been rubbish, put that in the comments as well. Don't put any links. We don't want any links to products or anything like that, but you can put the brand and the model, etc. And of course, tell us if you've liked this video, because we love to hear from you. If this video has helped, press that like button. You really, really need to engage with this video. It's the only way we can bring you these videos, okay? Comment, like, subscribe to our channel for more content. And remember to check out our online courses at the School of Photography. And I'm going to leave you with this. If you want to learn photography properly, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com.